How does one start to understand the value of his sacrifice in life? All the accolades and the awards? No. All the money and the fame? No. It's through all the suffering and pain to make his voice heard. It's from others' love and support which gives him strength beyond measure. It's his action that plants seeds, which bears fruit, which in turn makes a difference in the lives of others. Now what do these roots have in common? The Spencer Haywood rule.
Hello everybody, how are you? This is Spencer Haywood with the Spencer Haywood Rule Podcast, which means, without me, there ain't them, which is in the basketball world, anything that come into the NBA after 4 years of high school or 3 years of high school, you come through me. And so that rule in itself, why the show is called the Spencer Haywood Rule Podcast, is because that rule has created over $33 billion in players' salary alone. And we haven't talked yet about the owners and how they have grown from that ruling. So I have on this show, which is so good. I have on the show today, I have the creator of Winning Time, Mr. Rodney Barnes. Thank you for joining me, sir. Mr. Kareem, but no, I'm sorry. You had me all confused. I thought I was talking to Kareem. So, you're playing the role so good. Solomon Hughes, welcome to the show, bro.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm excited to chat.
Thank you. And the Rook. How you doing, Rookie?
I'm good. I'm up here with y'all.
Quincy Isaiah. Yeah, man, you're doing such an awesome job with Magic. So, Rodney,
yes,
what happened?
brother.
How did you come up with this? Was it through Perlman's book?
Yeah, well, first let me say in order how this all came about. Jim Hecht, who is a huge fan of the Lakers, got a hold of Jeff Pearlman's book. He got it to Adam McKay. Adam McKay took it to HBO. They hired Max Bornstein, who hired me. I'm just kind of the spook that sat by the door.
Hello.
So there you go.
You're more than, but I hear you. But
I appreciate that. But
yes.
in regards to my contribution and what I saw was an opportunity, someone who played the game at the lowest of levels with the least skill possible, but always appreciated it and realized that it was deeply connected to African-American culture and, Black men in particular, certainly in the period of time that we're talking about right now. And really saw it as an opportunity to go deeper into us as Black men and the struggle that walks with the talent and actually playing the game. And so, what I've tried to contribute to the show is always, when you see behavior, there's something that's walking psychologically with that when you talk about trauma and just being a Black man in this society. And triumphing over that to become really great at this game of basketball.
Yeah, also in life,
Yes, and in life as well.
Triumph of the life, So let me start over here to the left, down at the bottom here. Our families go back, so we won't go into our family history, Solomon, but wow. Yeah. Man, what a great job as Kareem. Your first time out as an actor, my gosh. And let me just flash back a little bit so the audience won't be thinking, well, he just making up that sky hook. He just doing this. You were a great player over at Cal. Talk a little bit about your career as a basketball player, and then we'll go into the character of Kareem.
Sure. Yeah. So, I grew up playing the game of basketball. In large part because my father played at the junior college level and then got a D1 scholarship. And so, in addition to him, I had my two uncles, one who played at University of Michigan, Billy, who you know, and then Calvin, who played at Central Michigan. So growing up, there was kind of a roadmap that was laid out for us. And I was tall, had some talent, and I got to play the game, and was fortunate to get an opportunity to play at UC Berkeley. And it was around, I think it was my sophomore year where I really started developing a go-to move. And it was actually a jump hook, which is kind of a variation of the sky hook, but it definitely was inspired by how successful Kareem had been with his sky hook. And so, so I got to, I was blessed. I got to play 4 years at Berkeley, was team captain. And then, I tell people I piecemealed together a professional career for 4 years, kind of bouncing around. Had a couple looks with some NBA teams, but nothing really came to fruition. Which I look back on it and I realize there's so much that I learned in terms of just the business of the game. But I do have to say, being a part of this project has really given me new eyes in terms of how I see the game and just the history of the game, right? And so, which is why I'm just so excited to talk with you, because how instrumental you are in the history and the development of basketball, the global game that we enjoy now. I mean, all of those things, I feel like I'm developing such a deeper appreciation for the game now.
But you shot 62% from the field.
I did, yeah.
That's enough to get into the NBA there.
Yeah,
and you're 6'11", I'm
right.
like, well,
yeah.
What happened? What are they doing?
Yeah, I think it was one of those things, Spencer, where I liked the game. I don't know that I necessarily really loved it. Yeah, and so I've what I should have done is I should have tried to leave after my junior year, because I shot 62% from the field my junior year. I should have just tried and just entered my name and see what happened. Because and I really think that just the way our college team operated was, I felt like there was the business of the game really seeped in to everything we were experiencing, so it took a lot of the joy out of it for me. I feel like I will say, my last real try to get into the NBA, I was in camp with the Phoenix Suns, and I really put my all out there. I didn't make the team. I didn't make the summer league team, but I felt like at the end of the week, I felt like I had really put everything out there, and so I was content and I was ready to transition to whatever was next.
Yes, sir. Mr. Magic, Quincy, talk to me, bro. You're from home too, Rodney, what are you doing? You seeking out all Michigan people?
No, well, Quincy, I think this show was destined to have Quincy in some capacity. Yeah. He was either going to be Zastro or Magic, one or the other. So Magic, he chose Magic.
Hey, Zastro ain't a bad part either. Shion did his thing. Hey, I wouldn't mind.
So you're from Muskegon, right? Muskegon, Michigan?
Yes, sir. Born and raised.
Yeah.
And I went to school in Kalamazoo.
Who are some of the great players who came out of Muskegon? Was it Kennedy McIntosh?
I don't know Kennedy McIntosh. I know Earl Morale.
I think he was, yeah.
He was 19, 50s. And then we had a few other players that went and played college ball, Terrence Taylor, Ronald Johnson. He played at USC. Ashton Leggett. Those are the ones off the top of my head, but those hometown heroes. I don't know if anybody else would know them, but yeah.
Right. Did you play?
I did. I played football though. I didn't play basketball.
Oh.
Yeah. So I played football. Went to the state championship my senior year. 6'2", 6'3".
Okay.
I could beat Quincy now.
Oh,
in what?
Basketball.
Are we going to put some on a one-on-one here?
Like one of them, the game, the hand game basketball.
No, I'm saying with the ball. We on a show right now, so we're gonna focus on that. Become August.
Oh, okay.
Watch.
Okay. Like the arcade game, right? You can't even get me in that though. So I'll leave it alone though. What'd you say? I'm sorry.
Quince,
yes, sir.
What does it feel like portraying Magic Johnson, this Laker hero, this world hero, this player that helped steer the NBA back into focus, because your character Solomon and Kareem and I, we were like the old heads, and we had we were in a period of in the 80s where everybody was like, sort of getting militant, and then you had the cokes coming on the scene, cocaine and stuff, and then you have this Magic, and he just walked into the locker room, he lit it up, and it was like just this joy. And Kareem and I was one night talking about it. I was like, damn, I wish I could have been like Magic in terms of my attitude.
That's wild.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you.
Yeah. And honestly,
tell us a little bit about your character, how you got into him, and how you feel about it.
Yeah. First you do, whatever research you can on him, and he got so much footage out there. You just watch it and try and tap into who he was during that period. And then, you get the scripts that they write, and you go in and you look at it and you see the roadmap to where they leading you. Then you show up, with these, like, with an idea of how you, the way the character feels. And then you also get notes. Because honestly, like, playing Magic was difficult for me because it was a lot of energy that was needed. And, like, that's why I always credit, Rodney and Max for being like, hey, we need your energy up a little bit more. You know what I mean? Like, because naturally I'm just very much a laid back dude. And Magic is
can't be laid back playing Magic.
Exactly. Like, Magic here, he's there, and like just trying to figure out how to tap into that naturally, and keep it going and staying consistent with it. So I think that was the one of the more challenging parts, but also one of the most rewarding parts, because once you get in that pocket, you in that pocket. So it's been fun, man. And just the reception, like, again, hearing you who know him and people that know him and Kareem, and hearing you like speak on being in the locker room and seeing him come in and like this energy, and then for you to say like I did a good job, like that's
not only a good job, man, sir, but a great job, sir.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Yeah, you're killing it, man. You are like. Have you spoke with Magic?
I haven't talked to him yet. No.
You haven't?
No.
Well, we have to work on that one. I will give him a heads up, because I think it would be nice if you could have dinner with him and sit with him and let him get some stuff off of his chest. But also, don't change your character. Don't change what you're doing. But it would help him as well in terms of to understand what a great job Rodney has done with this movie. And sometimes we get off of our God path, and I think he need to like get back a little bit, because he can make all the millions and billions you want, but his God gift was that he was saving so many Americans with AIDS, HIV. He was doing so much with the community. And so, and I kind of like, the last time I was with him and Kareem, I was kind of like scolding them out a little bit, which, normally they scolded me out. But this time, I think with 34 years of sobriety, I can come in and throw my little 2 cents in, And the same thing I talked to Kareem about your character, Solomon. I was like, man, do you see what he has done for you in terms of letting people see Kareem, let them see and get a feel of who he is. And also the Muslim community has just been up in beauty, all praises be to Allah, because they are like, they feel, I can walk around with my chest out a little bit because of this movie. And Rodney, you just, man, your history of doing this type of things, man, you have done such an awesome job. And Wood was going to be on the show, Wood Harris, but he's shooting a film in Cleveland. He's such a big shot now. Always has been.
Wood always been.
But Wood and I spoke.
Yeah, he told me. He talked
Yeah.
about it on our podcast, and he spoke very highly. That's the first time I knew that you had any connection to, actually watching the show was through Wood. And he told me the night before in our episode 9, when he does this soliloquy after he's kicked off of the team, that he had spoken to you the night before, and that you actually gave him words that helped his performance. So
yeah, I keep telling him to go for it, do it, because young fellas, I slipped off the diving board. So, and it should be talked about because I was dealing with PTSD. I was dealing with a lot of things, man, that I had pushed down for years, and I thought that by getting involved, I didn't choose to get involved with drugs, but by getting involved at that time, it seemed like I was sabotaging my whole life, and I didn't know how to pull back, because, I mean, going through to the Supreme Court is a hard journey. And now, one of the other gentlemen who went to the Supreme Court, he didn't win his case, but he did win it, was Curt Flood.
Curt Flood, yes.
And Curt Flood had to leave the country because he just couldn't live in America the way they treated him after that case. And then they turned around and not gave him his case, but gave it to Andy Musselschmidt the next year. And Curt came back. Yeah, he came back and...
I'm sorry.
Huh?
Where did he go, Curt?
He went to the islands. He went to the islands
Okay.
and just lived on the islands for all of those years. And he came back, and they decided, well, we're going to let all of the baseball players know who you are. So they brought him around with the Major League Baseball, and the players just like, who was this old guy, man? What did he do for me? Why y'all keep talking about Curt Flood? So he died shortly after that with a broken heart. And so I always was just praying that I would never have to do that, because it's hard. It's hard fighting the system all the way to the Supreme Court. And Rodney, you can attest to this. I mean, and Dr. Solomon, because you're an educator, so
I certainly think the game of basketball being rooted in African American culture helped. Whereas Curt Flood, baseball and black men have always, there's been a different type of relationship between the two. It's still, in my opinion, it's still a white game, or seen as a white game as far as the fan base is concerned. And anytime you get what some would see as rebel rousers within that, there seems to be a bigger issue. When I look at your contribution to the NBA, and I think of when you did what you did to now, when we were going through the George Floyd, Black Lives Matter situation, the players were about to walk out and protest. And I doubt that had you not done what you did, and a lot of players like yourself, if the evolution from that period to now would have taken place to where players would have that much of a stake in the game, from not just from the free agency place, but just a voice within the game. And I don't know if that's the same for Major League Baseball.
Now, baseball is different. Let me tell you about winning time. Kareem invited me down for his 75th birthday. I flew into town, and TMZ and everybody thought everybody's got this chop up about winning time around the Lakers, because they haven't gotten in touch with reality to that degree. And I want them to get there. But we were out on the floor and in the tunnel getting ready to go out on the floor. So I'm standing behind Kareem, and then I walked in the front of him, and just standing there looking out on the floor, and Magic was next to me. So I'm thinking, here come LeBron, Westbrook, Anthony Davis, and all of them. They coming walking fast towards us, and I'm sort of like getting back out of the way, like, whoa, let them, get to the big Lakers. And they jumped on me and like, hey man, thank you. And I'm trying to figure out what's going on. And they said, because of winning time, we know what you did for us and who you are. I was like, wow. And the same thing, I went out on the floor, we were doing the halftime event, and the OKC Thunder, the players came up and said, brother, I want to thank you. I want to thank you. And I keep saying, I asked him a question again. What's changed? He said, winning time. I said, boy, you guys have done a great deed for me and for the world of basketball.
Wow.
Because the
Spencer,
knowledge that is being imparted is good. Go ahead, Solomon.
I was just going to say, so I'm going to put on my academic hat now. So, my PhD is in higher education, research and policy studies. And I specifically pursued a PhD in that area because when I was a college basketball player, I really wanted to look into the belly of the beast around just the power of college sports, the amount of money, the amount of influence, et cetera. And so, when I think about your story, you were being assailed from every single angle. Incredibly powerful and rich NBA owners, the college sports system, which was totally benefiting from having laborers like yourself working for free and bringing more attention to their game, right? And then, I always think about what really just to me is the most astounding fact is that you had other Black players who were criticizing you and who essentially were being brainwashed by ownership and by the league to tell you that what you were doing, which was really standing up for economic rights for athletes, particularly Black athletes, the fact that they were, not standing up for you. That's the part for me. When I think about your journey and, like you said, sobriety, it's like you literally had the world against you, And one of the things that I think is so fascinating is I would bet that if you asked those specific Black players who were critical of you when you were taking your stance, what their experience was like in college, they would have looked back on it with dread. College athletes now, with NIL and there's more attention on just how exploitative that system is, right? But in your time, it's like y'all are getting a free ride. You have nothing to say, right? But it's like even if you read Kareem's book, he talks about at UCLA, seeing how the institution is benefiting from just this inflow of cash while they're trying to figure out where their next meal is going to come from. And so it's wild to think that these same Black athletes that were criticizing you probably had really, really terrible stories about their time when they were in college. So I just really, like, Spencer, I just think you are the epitome of a leader, because I think at the end of the day, a leader is so focused on the goal that they don't get sidetracked by the critics. They know what the right thing is to do and they stick with it. And I just really, it was a stand for workers' rights. It was a stand for Black economic rights. It's just such a powerful, powerful story, and it's such a blessing that it's incorporated into the Showtime story. And so, I feel so blessed that I got to be a part of this, right? To sit in these scenes with Wood Harris while your story is being told, et cetera.
Yeah, thank you so much. And what happened, guys, is that the NBA and the NCAA and the ABA, they all three of them sued me for breaking the 4-year rule. And so what they told the veterans in the NBA is that if this young guy wins this case, you all are going to be pushed out on the back end. And so you have to go against him. So my union, the NBA Players Association, did not fight with me. They put me out into the cold and said, you're on your own. And so that was so weird because I'm trying to get into the NBA. And also, speaking of the Lakers, and the owner prior to Jerry Buss was, what's his name?
Jack Kent Cooke.
Jack Kent Cooke. Jack Kent Cooke, during the court case, was saying in public, he can't come into the league. It's going to destroy the league as we know it now, and it's going to be horrible. And then he would call my attorney, which was Governor Pat Brown and the MGM, Frank Rothman, I think it was, and Al Ross. So they would call them and say, can we get him with the Lakers? We would want him with the Lakers. We would just pay him for this year to sit out and just come on with the Lakers. He don't have to fight this case.
Wow.
Yeah.
They were trying to buy you out.
Basketball. Huh?
Yeah. They were trying to buy you out
Yeah.
doing the
Buy me
case
out,
against the
yeah.
Supreme Court. That's wild.
Oh, Eunice, my mother would say, a fool is thirsty in abundance of water, boy. Don't you be no fool. You stand up for what you believe in. Yeah.
It's a good
Quincy,
quote right now.
tell me, Quincy. Well, Bob Marley said it later too, so
Okay.
it's sort of like, I guess, biblical speaking.
Okay.
Quincy,
Yes, sir.
do people recognize you now when you walk in the street, when you're going out to the restaurant? They like, Quincy, oh, Magic. I mean, are they confused?
Yeah, well, yeah.
You got him, man.
Yeah, I've been getting it a lot more these days, and like all positive energy. Like people just like get so excited, and it's fun. It's funny. Like I don't know, just it's weird too though. I'm not gonna lie, like it's weird. Cause like you just be walking, living your life, and then like somebody comes out of nowhere that you don't really know, and then they like, hey, like, and it's a reaction. Like you can see how excited they are, and it's like I'm just like getting a drink or like some food or something, and it just I don't know. It's just different, It's a different life, and I feel like I'm figuring it out. So.
Star.
You said what?
Solomon, he's growing into a star. Come on.
Oh, right,
Embrace
exactly.
it, hug it, hold it, and rock the baby with it.
You know how hard season 2 is gonna be. You know how hard season 2 is gonna be. You keep telling him that.
Well,
it's gonna be hard on you anyway.
All right, well, I'll stop.
Yeah, I need a bigger trailer.
Season 2, so
my masseuse isn't here. All of this.
Hey, I'm working on all that right now.
I know.
He's not lying.
He's not lying. I know.
Yeah.
Solomon, how do you feel when you go out in public now? Because I know you're killing Kareem, man. You got his mannerism. You got everything about Kareem is there in you and embodied in your acting. It's like incredible. I'm so proud of you and what the job you've done. And another thing, you and Kareem need to sit and talk and listen to some jazz and kick it back because you got season 2. So season 1, I want to know what happened to Spencer, but I can't jump ahead, Rodney. But I know,
Yes.
I got a
You already know.
I don't know, but I got.
You know better than everybody.
I don't know, but I got a feeling.
Yeah.
So how do you feel, Solomon?
Yeah, so I don't live in LA, and so where I am in the Bay Area, I think people are starting to recognize me. Like the other day, I've still kind of been wearing the COVID mask, but the other day at my daughter's school, some people came up to me and said, "Are you? Oh my gosh, we love the show. We're watching the show." And I was in LA for a couple of days this last week, and people would come up to me and say, "I just want to say we really love the show. You're doing a great job." And so it's great. It's respectful, and it's funny because it's Devon Nixon who's portraying his father, Norm.
His father.
He said to me right away. He said, "Solomon, you really are going to not be able to hide because you're like 6'10", and people are going to really see you in public." And but it's been good. I mean, the feedback's been great. And for me, what's fun is hearing people say, "I did not know that." And then I went back and read more. And the other thing, Spencer, I'm always telling people they need to read your memoir because it's just so incredible. It's such an incredible book and it's an incredible testimony. And I've enjoying it. But, like Quincy said, it's definitely taking some time to adjust to just because, I'll get messages from people in like Brazil saying, we're watching the show. We love the show. And it's just, it's wild. It's a real platform.
Yeah. Rodney, did you think this would have the impact that it is having?
Yeah, I did because, I'm old enough to have seen so many sports-themed movies and TV shows that really didn't focus on the culture and really didn't focus on anything other than the game itself, the physical aspect of the game itself, that I knew that if we were able to mix all of the various ingredients from the game, but the culture of the men who play the game, management, and then by extension, how they live their lives and the things that are important to them, that if you add all of this stuff in together and with the great cinematic team that we have that give it such a great look, and the costume folks and everybody else involved, that when you put that all together, you have something that's really, really special. So you can never really determine how it's going to be received, how the public is going to receive it. But I think we all knew that we had something special, and I think HBO has done a great job at getting it out to the world and marketing it really, really well. And, you know, the thing that I'm proudest of is that every week there are more and more people watching it. The positive stuff that's coming in from the public at large, it just continues to grow. And I think that's a testament to, you know, everybody that's involved. And especially, I say this often, so guys get ready to hear it again. Solomon and Quincy, having never really done this before, the amount of work and commitment that they put into this has been incredible. And so, you know, certainly when it comes to that part of the story, the narrative real estate that the players take, those two guys really, really, really stepped up big time. So proud of everybody involved.
Yeah, let's go into some of the other characters that are not here today. Of course, you can talk about Wood Harris. Let's start with Wood Harris, and my character. Mm-hmm. How did you? I mean, you just developed it because I see Iman coming in and out of the film a little bit.
Yes. No, what happened with your character was more of, when it was first, we read your book and we got into how can we take this character and say more than just, because you did so much, that how can we cover all of that in a span of 5 episodes? And so we did our best to sort of track a journey, the arc of a story, in the beginning of everything that you went through with the Supreme Court and all of that, and how it affected you emotionally, and a little bit of what you've touched on today, and then using that as the springboard to be able to get to where ultimately we get to with the end of the story. And then in between, trying to highlight that you were a really great basketball player as well, because I think that gets lost into the politics of it and the substance abuse part of it. In between all of that, the foundation of it is you're a great basketball player. So trying to sort of knead all of that into a story was the goal. And I think we did a pretty good job at it. Yeah.
Well, what about the circumcision?
Read that in the book. That was you. So
yeah, that is me, because, you know, down in the backwoods of Silver City, Mississippi, you don't have access to a doctor. I never saw a doctor until I was 15 in Detroit, and I was like, that's what a doctor looked like, Quincy?
Wow.
So you had to do certain things on your own. And I remember my brother Andrew was telling me, man, y'all got to be circumcised. We were younger, my brother Floyd and I. And so we were out there trying to work this thing. We were not in a house. We were in the outhouse, because we had no bathroom inside our home. So we was at a toilet way out by the pig pen. So we were working on this thing for days, trying to get it skin peeled back. And it was just excruciating pain. So I finally got it done.
You're describing it.
Huh? Yeah. So I finally got it done, and then my brother Floyd got his done, so we were working together. And then Andrew, the guy who's leading us, has said, too hard, I'm not going to do it. We were like, you motherfucker. And so he left. So he's walking around. He was walking around for years with duck butter all over all his penis and shit. He said duck butter. Rodney, don't go there. Because he didn't circumcise himself. And my mother would say, you're going to have the disease of the weenie boy. Oh, man. So, yeah, circumcised.
You know,
and I like the part when you came in with John Quinn. In episode 9, John was this character that was in my life. I mean, enough about my character. Let me go into Jerry West's character for a second. Go ahead, Solomon.
I was going to say one more thing about your character, because I think one of the beautiful things about Black folks is how we can use humor to talk about these traumatic things. But when I read that in your book, Spencer, I've read a lot of books about racism, the impact or whatever, and I was like, this is probably one of the most salient testimonies of the consequences of the ignorance of racism, right? Like that children are having to do this, right? In a country that exists because of their work. Like it's just such a. I mean, when I was reading the book, I slammed it shut, and I had to walk away from it for like a day. So I just wanted to share that.
Yeah, but you know what? For you guys, you know, the doctor's office in the hospital was 6 miles away from my house, but we could not go to that doctor because we were Black. So we could go to the horse doctor and the farm doctors, but we could not go to a real doctor. And another story about my brother Andrew, he got this big toothache, and he was like, "Oh man, I hate to go to Dr. James." Dr. James was the horse doctor, so he go down there to get his tooth pulled out, and he said, "Oh, you got more teeth." And he kept pulling them off, so he walked around for years, Quincy, with no teeth.
Dog.
No. Chris Rock, my friend Chris Rock said his mother used to go to the horse vet, what you just said, and that's where you would go. They were in the deepest part of South Carolina, and that's where you would go to the dentist, was at the horse vet.
Yes.
That they never went to the doctor.
Well, this is our history, you know? Yeah.
That shit is horrible.
Go ahead, Quince. I mean, I know this stuff is crazy we're talking about here.
Cause like, you know, as a Black man, you know that, you know, we weren't treated the best, but I didn't know stuff like that. You know, I didn't know it got into the weeds like that, you know, and I guess if I would have talked to my grandparents, they probably would have had similar experiences.
They probably tell you, you know.
Because it's normal. It's normalized.
It's normal.
When you grow up.
Like it was.
Yeah, you don't see it as a thing.
It wasn't like, you know, oh my God, they being so racist. They like, you know, it wasn't that way. We were strong. We were just like field hands. You gotta get this done.
This is what came.
And then you got to get out here and pick up 200 pounds of cotton this morning.
Exactly.
And another 200 pounds in the evening. That's how I developed as a kid. Let me just tell y'all one thing about when I got to Detroit. I had been picking cotton from sun up to sundown. And you pull a sack that weighs 100 pounds, like less than like a quarter of a mile or a mile. And then you have to put that sack on your back, walk back to the trailer, dump that sack into the trailer, and then you walk back out into the field. So my legs and my body had developed. And as a cotton picker, you have 2 rows of cotton or 1 row. I was always a 2-row picker. So I had left hand, right hand. And so I get to Detroit, and the coach put me together with the team and said, "Let me introduce you all to our new player. And son, boys, we have been playing with mules. Now we got us a horse." I know this is basketball talk. And so we're going to win the Class A state championship on this boy's back. So, and I was so developed from playing that I was jumping over the rim, and we had an all-star game down at Crunk, downtown, down in Detroit, and I played against the high school players, and the high school players were like, "Oh my God, I can't wear these Converse. I want to wear Adidas. I want to wear some Pro Kids." And I was like, my shoes had a hole in the bottom, my Converse. I had a cardboard box, and I had cardboard paper in my shoe. So I grabbed up all of these shoes and said, I got to send these shoes back to my county in Mississippi so these guys can have some shoes, because we didn't have shoes. We played barefooted, you know? And so we went out and played. I had 15 and 27 points and 15 rebounds, and they were like, "I'm so tired, man. I'm so tired. I don't know how am I going to survive this heat." And I was like, am I going to get another game? Am I going to get another game in? And so that's when Cassie Russell, who was playing at the University of Michigan, said, "All right, come on, let's play with the college boy. Let's see what you have, you know?" And so I played against them, and I had 17 points and 5 rebounds. And then they was like, whoa, because I didn't have a place to stay yet because I just came up from Mississippi. So then Dave Bing says, let's see how he can make out with us who played with the Pistons and all of that, the NBA players out there. So I played against them and did real well. And here come Will Robertson, who came, said, Freddie Snowden from Northwestern, all the other coaches, no, this is my player. I got him. And so that's how my career started in Detroit, man. And he adopted me, and along with James and Ida Bell, they raised me properly in the family. Dr. Wayne Dyer, who taught me how to sit tall and stand tall and just talk again, because I would be, in Mississippi, if you look, the farmer in the eye, somebody punch you in the face. You can't look at me in the eye. Boy, don't be eyeballing me. What's wrong with you? So you had to look down. So I had to learn to get my head up. I had to go through books on my head because I was, my balance was off. Yeah. And then I did ballet. And here I am let's fast forward the story. Here I am in the Olympics, and we're playing against Yugoslavia for the finals, for the gold medal. And Quincy, I'm walking the sideline, and I'm trying to figure out, why am I walking this sideline so nicely? Because the ball was going out of bounds, and we needed to get it back in bounds. And I'm walking the sideline like a ballet dance, and I threw it back in. And JoJo White said, twinkle toes. Okay. But the training of ballet, you never know when you come out. It's there. Yeah.
JoJo White, played for, was it Celtics. Kentucky? The Celtics?
Well, one more thing. Will Robertson ended up being the first black coach in Division I history. Yeah. Okay. My coach, my dad. And also was the assistant general manager for the Pistons, who brought Joe Dumas, Dennis Rodman, all of those players to the Pistons, and Isaiah Thomas and all of those guys. Wow. So a little history there. Yeah. But let's talk about Pat Riley, because a lot of stories are talking and saying that, well, y'all embellished on Pat Riley, but, I know Pat. So I know Pat Riley. I know Jerry
Jerry's
West.
the big one. Jerry's the big
Jerry
one.
West is the big one. And, Pat was like Pat, but Jerry West is Jerry West. And I didn't see anything wrong with it. I didn't see that you took truth out, because Jerry went through PTSD coming out of West Virginia like I am. Mm-hmm. So he's just now getting himself cleared up. And I think that the players that he know and that he's going to be working with in the future and working with now, they're going to respect him for this. Mm-hmm. So what do you guys think?
Yeah, I think honestly, it feels like it's like once you get a narrative started, it's hard to stop the momentum of that narrative. And I think from the first episode, that narrative of Jerry West being this hothead and a drunk and all this, it's like we in episode 9 right now. Once you get to episode 9, anybody that's stuck with it to this point, they're like, Jerry West is my favorite character. Because it's such a dynamic role, and Jason Clarke is just bodying it, and
he's living it, boy.
Yeah, and you can feel the passion in his portrayal, and and you see why he is the way he is, and it's like, I don't know, it's just one of them. I feel like he's tapping into a different level of character, like one of them HBO characters, like Omar from The Wire, or there was another one. Ari Gold from Entourage. It's one of them characters where it's like, it's just different, and I don't know.
Yeah, well, Jerry, but Jerry was sort of like that, because Jerry, you get to the finals 7 times and Boston send you back, you're going to have an edge.
Yeah. And you have to.
And you have to, you listen to a system where you are the general manager, or you're an advisor to the general manager and to everyone. You have to be different. You have to be a little crazy. And not crazy in the sense that you're crazy, but that's who you are, and embrace it and love it. And I think the character that's playing Jerry, he should have a lunch. I need to get a set up lunch, a lunch with those two, because I think that Jerry need to understand that this is movie making. This is a great film. It is. And the young guys I talk to about Jerry West, they like, man, I like Jerry West. I'm like, that guy has done so much for basketball. He is the logo. And let me tell you all a little inside story. When I was going through the case, I was looking for guys to say, hey, man, you'll be all right. You'll do good. I'm backing you, but I can't back you out front. Jerry West, Wilt Chamberlain, Oscar Robertson, my guys. Yeah, Dave Bing. Those are my folk, who was like, we got you, but we cannot, we in the corporate system too. We can't do these things, but that's Jerry West, man.
Well, I think if he actually watches the show.
Huh?
From what I understand, he hasn't watched the show yet.
That's what I was surprised
about. He hasn't
about.
Seen an episode. So this is what people are telling him because he refuses to watch the show. So he believes that it's this thing that I don't think it's that at all.
Yeah, well, is there any way that you actors and everybody get together and have a private screening or a screening for him, Kareem, Magic, and those guys who are dragging and thinking that they are being portrayed as such? And it's only about truth. I mean, I sit and watch all episode, every minute, every second, and I'm like, yeah.
That's wild.
Yes. And y'all.
When that subpoena comes, to your door, just remember you said that.
You guys didn't let me. I played in 2 games in the finals. Y'all cut me off before I got to the finals. I'm like, oh, no, I played 2 games. I played 1 less game than Kareem.
Okay.
Yeah. And, them guys, when they voted on me, they took my playoff share, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they took the playoff share. They said, I get a call. I'm getting all dressed up to to ride on the float. And oh, man, we won this thing. Let me apologize to the fans and to the people. Sorry, buddy, you can't be on the float. Wow. I was like, oh, shit. So I had to just ball up in a knot. And then the next bad news I got was like, you can't go in the expansion draft over to Dallas. You have to go overseas in order to receive your contract that you have earned with the Lakers here. We want you to get out of the country. And they sent me out of the country. I had to go get this passport, and the plane stopped in Boston. The Celtic people, I told you the Lakers wasn't shit. They have no loyalty, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, man, I don't need to hear this. I just want to get to Venice. I arrive in Venice, and I'm thinking, the bus or the limo to take me in, the water taxi come up. Oh, we're going way out here into the ocean. I was like, whoa. So they loved me up, and I got myself together. And my wife was able to come and visit me a lot in Italy because she was still modeling strong. So she took all of her jobs in Milan and in Bologna and all throughout Italy. And in France on the weekend, I could run up to see her in France. So it was pretty good. But the one person that came to see me from the Lakers to see if I was surviving, that I was okay, was Bill Sharman.
Okay.
Yeah. Nice. Quincy, this is some history stuff, man. I'm just dropping.
Hey, I'm just soaking it all in, man.
Okay.
Like, I notice I get quiet because I like hearing stories and just being the rook,
Yeah. So my view of Jerry West is just awesome, and Paul Westhead, the character playing Paul, is doing an awesome job as well. I mean, Westhead was, he was new. He wasn't a coach like that, so he was learning. Pat Riley character is like, he's into it. He's got it. He's got Pat. And what's his name? Adrian Brody.
Adrian Brody.
Yeah, he's got Pat, man. He's got it down. And you guys have just done such an awesome job with this film. And my advice, and this is not to you guys, but to Jerry West, to Kareem, to Magic, get together with you guys and learn about this movie and watch this movie, because they're getting information from the outside world, and that's not true. It's not what it's being made out to be. And so when people do watch it, and I know quite a few of my people were like, "Oh, you don't need to be watching that." And I started watching it, and I'm like, okay. I started from the beginning all the way through, and my kids are watching it, and I'm giving them, my daughters are giving me feedback, and my daughter Isis just posted her breakdown of the whole film and my character and everything. So it's a good thing. It's a good and great movie. And I'm just so delighted to have you guys on with me today, because I wanted to kind of clear the air for the movie, because the movie is a great movie. And Dr. Buss, the gentleman that's playing Dr. Buss, he's on it, right on the mark. Jenny Buss on the mark, Sally Field. Oh my God. So me and Sally gonna lose our way and not make it to season 2. Yeah, but I'm just so proud of y'all. I'm so proud of the whole process. It's a good thing for America. It's a good thing for basketball. And somehow I think we also need to get to the guys on TNT and at the podium. Some of you guys need to visit with those guys. And
I know Kenny. Kenny came out to Kenny Smith came to our rollout in Cleveland at the All-Star game.
Okay, I got caught up, man. I was going to be there at the rollout in Cleveland, but my flight, we had an ice storm, and so I couldn't land. So I was like, oh man, I don't get a chance. I was receiving an award from all of the players, and in fact, one of the characters in the movie was giving me the award, Jim Chones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He was
made
there.
it there.
He came to our thing too. Yeah,
he was there. Of course. Yeah,
That's great.
Man. You guys are killing it. I'm just looking at you like in awe, like these guys.
It's likewise.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. I'm appreciative just to be able to talk to you today.
Right. Seriously.
Yeah,
Spencer, your arc. Right. I was going to say, and then becoming the chairman of the NBA the Retired Players Association.
Yes,
just
chairman of the board.
Again, just this theme of leadership and care for others that has literally just characterized your entire life. You really are a giant, Spencer. You really are.
Big time.
Let me just say one more thing about being the chairman of the board for the NBA Retired Players. We didn't have health insurance. I went to LeBron, Chris Paul, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, and those guys, and I said, man, we need some health insurance. We got guys are dying and not. They walked away and came back, and 15 minutes later, so you got the same health insurance that we have now, and it's $16 million a year. But they don't tell people about it because they're a little ashamed. But I'm telling y'all, and I'm telling the world that these young players are on it. They are so awesome. So in closing, let's talk some basketball. Okay. Rodney.
Yes, sir.
Give me your breakdown of the playoffs right now. What you say?
My favorite series right now is Memphis and Golden State. That feels like competitive basketball at its best. I think the Sixers in Miami with Joel Embiid coming out and James Harden looking like me right now. That's not what I thought it was going to be. When the trade went down, the Dallas Phoenix. I think Phoenix might just sweep them. And what's the other one? The other one is
Boston and the
Boston.
Yeah, that's competitive as well. But I think Milwaukee's going to figure out a way it might go 7 games, but I think Milwaukee's going to, make their way through. But the thing that I love about even what the playoffs and the game has become is so much parity now. It used to be where you knew who was going to get in the playoffs. You had an idea of who was going to dominate and who was going to win. I really don't know right now. I really have no idea.
Really don't know.
Yeah, it is so competitive. And I I want to see Phoenix and Golden State go at it because I feel like they're even. But in the Eastern Conference, whoever gets there gets there. I think it'll be a great series by the time you get to the finals.
What do you think about Miami, Solomon?
So I have to be honest. The only series I've been paying attention to is Memphis and Golden State.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Why? Because you're living up in Northern
Yeah,
California?
right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, and
Forgot all about that.
Just the way the Warriors have transformed this area. I mean, just like the love. I mean, like some of the most rabid fans, like Draymond fans, Clay fans, Steph fans, and just the fan base is. People know that I'm from Southern California, and so they're suspicious of me. And I'm like, I appreciate the Warriors. I want to see them, be successful. So
yeah. Well, the general manager and the guy who put together this whole team and part of the whole franchise at this point, and also build the new arena. His name is Rick Welts. Mm-hmm. He was my ball boy when I was in Seattle, and when I came out to play with the Sonics, I was 20 and he was 16, so I couldn't hang out with Lenny Wilkins and all of those old heads. I hung out with the ball boy. So we got to camera picture taking day in 1970, I think 71, and I wouldn't take the picture without my boy on the podium with us in his uniform. So to this day, he's the only ball boy to be in a picture.
Wow.
A team picture.
Wow.
You have to post that. You need to post that on Instagram.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
That's good.
So Quince, I know you're a baller. Tell me, baby, what's up?
Hey, I'm pulling for the Suns, man. I want to see Chris Paul get a ring. And I think they just got like the best complete team in my eyes. I also like Miami too, though. I think I just love the culture.
Miami's a sleeper.
Yeah, and they just rough riders, I do think the Bucks might end up getting out though of the East, depending on I want to say depending on Middleton.
It's Chris Middleton.
Yeah.
Is he going
Chris
to make
Middleton
it back?
comes back, I think,
I would definitely say yeah. But even without him, I still think they got a chance to get out. Because Giannis is just he the best player in basketball.
Sometimes the Bucks play so small when they are so big. Mm-hmm. And that's what I question. Why are you shooting a three? Why are you doing these things when you are dominant
7 feet tall?
Yeah.
But your front line is 6'11", 6'9", 7'1". Like, I would be down low. I would be a nasty person down low. But then, the Celtics are looking really good as a team, and they have some mojo going on. But I don't think they can beat the Bucks. But it could happen. And I'm pulling for Phoenix because, Chris Paul was the man who gave us our health insurance. He was the chairman of the board for the current Players Association. So I'm, but then Steph Curry was the vice chair. So I'm like, oh, God. And Ja Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies, I'm so excited about that because the Grizzlies brought me down and gave me an award on the floor for what I had contributed to basketball under the Martin Luther King award in Memphis. I think it was like 4 years ago. So I got connections with all of them, and I love them all. So it's a pretty good thing. Guys, I'm getting ready. Rodney, one more thing.
Yes, sir.
What happened to me? No, that's okay.
Well, see, what happened was my mic went out. What happened? My mic went out.
No, don't tell the audience.
You got to start.
We're going to be airing it after. We're going to air this after. So I'm just nosy. But anyway,
I think you'll be happy with it.
Yeah,
I know
it's
you.
beautiful
please.
scene. Beautiful scene
Yeah,
with
I think you'll be
Solomon
happy
and
with it.
Wood.
Let's go.
Please, man, you guys have been awesome. I'm going to reach out to my fellow Lakers and see why can't they get involved in this project and support it, because it is an awesome project. It is something that the young players needed in their lives to feel whole, because sometimes NBA stories are not told like this. It's not gritty. It's not like truthful. It's just a gloss over. And so this is one that is a true story, and it has helped so many young players, the current players today, because they are into it. They love it. And so I just want to thank you all for joining me on this wonderful day, and continue with the great work. And let me see what happened to old Spencer on Sunday night, and as well, and season 2. Congratulations.
Thank you, brother.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Having season 2.
Really appreciate you, man. Thank you very
Appreciate
much.
you.
It's great talking to you today.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you both. Thank you.
Thanks for putting your arm around us. Like it's
Yeah,
very,
sir.
you know.
I love y'all.
It means a
This
lot.
is not like a.
Yeah.
This is not like a light hug. This is one of those.
And I feel it,
And
man.
I'm giving y'all this love.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, and God bless you all. Okay.
Change the world, change the game, never ever the same. This is a change. Change the world, change the game, never ever the same. This is a change.